Right, it's John Doyle here. I thought I'd just, as it's Friday the 13th in the United Kingdom, it's Red Nose Day, which is a TV charity which centres on, I think it's UK and abroad, mostly Africa, I think. There was a presentation just then by about 8:35 UK time, Annie Lennox, going to Eastern Cape somewhere, and it was about some children she visited who lost their parents to AIDS, and they were negative, the children. And it's interesting because she was saying about, you know, if you think this is wrong like me, then you should get on board, and then they put out the Red Nose charity phone number, and that's very laudable that, you know, there are charities around there like Oxfam, like Humanity First, like Red Nose Day, all the different Live Aids and etc. that have been around. But the shameful thing is when did it become TV companies' responsibility for humanity? If we believe this is wrong, and we feel enough, they've already given, it's only been on a few hours, they've already raised 13 million. If there's that much money given into it, why aren't we making the changes that will make this, you know, whose responsibility is really humanity? Isn't it governments? Isn't it countries? I mean, how do Western governments or rich governments turn their eyes away from their responsibility of this? And also the countries such as Africa, a lot of them are quite wealthy. They have wealthy, you know, they have, some of them have nuclear weapons, some of them have conventional weapons, have big armies, etc., have big TV industries, have big film industries, and yet within their countries they've got people that are dying of starvation, who don't have houses, who don't have healthcare, who have untreated AIDS where it can be treated with medicine. Where is their responsibility in all this? Obviously those countries have a responsibility, but then also countries who have wealth also have even more responsibility. You know, we've made wealth our what's the word? Our crippling device, I suppose, is a bad use of it, but it is. That's because we live on this planet, as I've said many a times before. We have, you know, we can do whatever we want to do. We've given it to those people in power. We've created governments and etc. to divvy out the money and etc. But is that really the best means? Because they're not. You know, we are one. Obviously, in the past, we've been brought up in fractions in different countries, different races, different ethnicities, and now we're all starting to realise that we're all one being. We're one human race. And we're divided just by culture, by religion, by name, by different things. Yet we are all the same. And there has to be a time when we all have to start looking, especially those people in power, at whether we should be continuing with this fraction, or whether we should actually be seeing this planet as one, and its inhabitants as one, and our responsibility for all of them. Yes, I know countries give lots of aid, but they tend to charge for it. The interest, I remember once one program that suggested that, and I think I've mentioned this previously on a different blog, that they, was this Iraq, or I'm not sure where it was, they give £1 billion of aid, and when you hear that you think that's brilliant, look how much, but their interest, or whatever they charge, or their debt or whatever, from other things that it's coming from the same country, is like 2 billion. So they're actually only wiping off £1 billion of it. So it's not really as great as it sounds. I believe, and I think this is right, that we all have a responsibility, especially those people in power, especially those people on the thrones of power, especially those rich people, to first, before anything else, make sure that everybody is living in a condition that we would be proud of in the 21st, 22nd century, that when they look back, if we ever get to the 30th century, look back on us, and that's how we should make sure that they feel that what we were doing was adequate, and I don't think we are. We're putting a lot of things, because we see ourselves as fractions, we're putting a lot of emphasis on our own countries, on things that really shouldn't be necessary, like weapons and war and all that type of stuff. Obviously I know this is an ideal solution and etc, but I suppose what I'm really trying to say, that's an end game solution to this problem. But at current, how do people like Barack Obama, Gordon Brown, Premier Sarkozy, all the different premiers around the world, in all the countries, especially those of wealthy countries, the nuclear powers, how do they watch these charity programs? So they might give some money as well, and the governments might give money as well, but why is it still happening? We're obviously not doing enough, because to have to rely on television companies and the pockets of ordinary people to service mankind is shameful. It is shameful. It's laudable for those people that are doing it, for the TV companies, although they're probably doing it to get entertainment as well. But there will be people that are doing it for the right reasons, and the people that put the money, it's very laudable, it's very honourable that they're taking this opportunity to do good, which they will be rewarded with. But the responsibility should be within governments to solve this problem, and to make sure that the governments where there are these problems make sure this money gets to the right people, and we make it easier so that children don't suffer in this century. I mean, I know you can argue that what I'm saying is a bit idealistic and etc, but I just don't see it as being defensible. I know some people might claim that, yeah, well, we give lots of money, but then look at what the governments, where these places are, what they do with the money. They give it to their army and this, that and the other. But then this money, how does this money that people are giving to these charities get out there? So, that problem is faced either way. I just think that when it comes to the responsibility of humanity and its suffering, it boils down to those people in power. If not, then why do we have it? We've made this money the most important thing that we have. We have abundant, food, abundant, places for everyone to live, and for them to live comfortably. We know everything, how to obtain that, how to do that. So why are we not doing that? Why are we making money the problem? Why are we still seeing ourselves as singular nations, singular people, and relying on TV and people's pockets to do a job that should be sorted out by those in power? And it's those in power who say all these great things, and people think they're great when they give £1 billion here and there, but is that really enough? It's probably not. It's probably not even the amount of money that they're taking from them in other means, and in interest and etc. So I just don't know how. Obviously it's, for people who don't have power, it's very difficult. But people who have power and see these images and see this suffering that happens every single day, not just on these charities, every single day, all around the world, and yet we are the kings of our kingdom of this earth, and these are our people. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say. I just wish those in power would actually do the right thing, and make it possible that these charities aren't necessary.